Welcome to The Art She Manages, the podcast celebrating remarkable women in arts and cultural management sector. I'm Alma, your host. Today's guest has built a career that spans from the rehearsal room to the executive office. Annette Weber-Hussain, opera director at the Zurich Opera House, joins me to share her journey to leadership, what power and responsibility mean to her commitment to mentoring the next generation of opera talent, and the challenges she has faced along the way in her brilliant career. Annette, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to join you.
I would like to start at the beginning of your journey. You started as a dancer. How did your passion for opera first begin? Was there a specific moment or experience that led you into this world?
Yes, actually, I have to make it a little bit more concrete. I wasn't really a professional dancer. I was really ambition to be one, but I never got to the point. But I was really one of those ballet girls going in every performance of the Karlsruhe Ballet. And yes, I was very passionate about it. And then I saw that the ballet troupe of Karlsruhe was also involved in musicals and operettas and opera. And that was, then I went to a show of La Traviata. They did this very tiny Spanish dance. And I said, wow, La Traviata, that's an opera. Wow, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And actually, I was more interested about the opera instead of the two dancers doing a 30 seconds dance act in this Traviata. And that was actually a moment I had really, it was like an enlightenment. I was, wow, that's something so complete, music, singing, also dancing on that
Right.
point, very little point. And yes, and then I went to different shows, to La Boheme, of course. It was I think my second opera I saw, and I was really, really touched, and I thought that's something really special, that people with no amplification, they are singing, and they touch me so deeply. And then I think I got the virus, the theater virus. And then a classmate of me, she was an extra, a statist in Karlsruhe, and she said, "Oh, they called me, they need young girls for Fürst Igor. You want to join?" And I said, "Yes, of course." And so I got into the Statisterie in Karlsruhe. And
Wow.
then the whole story started. And then I saw that there is like an internship sitting next to the director's assistant. Then I did a hospitance. And very quickly, even during my school time, I got the first contract as a regie assistant.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it
How
was
did
like,
that
and it
happen?
was a big revival of Meistersinger von Nürnberg.
Wow.
And it was really, I just finished school and run into Meistersinger of Nürnberg. And it was like, yeah. And then I promised now actually I wanted to become a medical doctor. And
Oh,
I promised my parents, yes, I would do that. And then I started one day at university, and then I told them, can I have 1 year in theater, please? That I really know that I don't want to work on the opera house. And I was just one day on university, and then I I stayed in opera, and
I,
now it's like 30 years, nearly 30 years ago.
wow, that's amazing. But like as a doctor or like, I don't know, medical studies, how did you manage to combine those completely different things?
Yeah, I was in a school specialized for mathematics and biology, and I had always the aim to be a medical doctor. I thought that's my thing, because working with people, that's from my perspective very, very important. And then through the hobby or the ambition dancing classes, I had this artist way always with me. And then I saw that in the arts there is this really, really deeply contact to people.
Right.
And then I put the science beside and I stayed with the arts. And I'm I'm very, very happy that I found this niche, this art form, because I think it's a big part of my heart is this creativity,
Right.
this side of expression of empathy, because I think I'm a very empathic person, and I think that's why I ended up in opera, a combination of music, movement, empathy, and yeah, that's I think that's why I ended up in opera.
Yeah, that's a very complex form of art. As you said, there is everything, and that's amazing. And you studied theater and musicology at University of Mainz, right?
Yes, I started there, but actually it was not full-hearted because I already worked in Karlsruhe, and I studied. Of course, I got the basis. I got theater history, musical knowledge, and all these stuff. But in the point, then the intendant in Karlsruhe asked me, Annette, you want to have the full contract? And I said,
Oh,
okay. I
yes.
don't finish my studies and my work. I directly jumped into the business.
No, of
And
course.
actually, now I'm nearly 30 years in it, and I never regret that I didn't finish my studies, because the opera is really learning by doing on
Right.
this side as a director's assistant. I think for a singer, it's important to finish the studies, but on my perspective, to understand how a theater or opera house works, I learned best
By doing.
during by doing. And from the bottom, from the lowest level as hospitant up to now I'm director of Opera House Zurich. On this 30 years journey, I learned mostly by learning by doing.
I can believe you, and I absolutely agree that it's something that you actually learn by, as you said, by doing and by being there, by following examples.
Yeah, and
Yes.
being open to see and understand the microsystem of an opera house. And that's also what I try to give in my lectures to the students. You are, as an artist or as a director, you need the people, like the people from the prop department, the guys from the lighting department. Otherwise, you're standing in the dark, or you don't have your prop at the right time. You need the dressers and the costume department, because otherwise you are naked
Yeah.
or you have an itchy costume or whatever. It's like a Swiss clockwork. It has to run all together that you have a perfect result in the end.
Right, I agree. You spent a significant part of your early career assisting some of the most distinguished stage directors, including Stefan Herheim and David McVicker. What did you learn from them about leadership in the artistic process?
Yes, I started to be a director's assistant. I really have to say, in like the old times, very high. The hierarchy was pretty high,
I can imagine.
where the director was like God,
Yes.
and everybody else has just to run, fix it, do it, and very often not in a very good way. They handled you or threatened me in not a good way.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it was part of the job. It was like 25 years ago. It was normal that when you decide to be a director's assistant, it's hard, and you
Yeah.
work like 13 hours, 12 hours. You're in the opera house. I have to fix the props, and I was involved in everything. But that was the big value that I learned it, and now I see, and I really appreciate the work of the other departments. Of course, I learned a lot how not to do it.
This is also a
Yeah,
great part, yes.
I learned for myself that in this way, I don't want to be a leader. I really want to be a leader who is more motivating than rude to people or bully people. I really want to
Right.
support people in the best way. And even I have a high pressure, I try to be nice and supportive. And that's one aspect I learned. The other thing, because I worked for 6 weeks with this director, 6 weeks with the other director, you totally have to adapt your working style, because some directors, they want that you be stuck to them all the time, writing everything, and the other thing, please, I need my space, I want to talk with the singers without you. And I learned to be very flexible in my working situations. I really learned to read people, what are the needs of the people, that I really can adjust my work to them. That's why I think I can be very flexible with different situations.
Right.
And that I learned from then. And then, of course, I learned a lot of different artistic handwritings from Jossi Wieler, David McVicker, Stefan Herheim, and all the directors I assisted. This were like 50 different directors I worked with
Crazy.
in 20 years of assisting. I worked with a lot. And then I took from everybody, I took the best. I thought, this is really good. This is really good. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed how he was working with the chorus. I enjoyed how he was working on the creative side with his set designer. So I put all the stuff I really enjoyed.
Like a puzzle, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's just when you work for such a long time, then you have this rich basket of experience. You can say, okay, now that's my special Annette Weber-Hussain basket with all the things I want to keep.
Well, that's amazing. And this is also what influences you when you stage your own productions.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now I had the very nice opportunity to work with the Opern Studio in Zurich for a production of Viaggio Arams, and it was so much fun. And of course, my directing style changed in the last 15 years, because now I have a different, of course, a different age, a different. I'm more sovereign.
Yes, I
Speak with
understand. Yeah.
people. I have seen so much more. I have seen what I really like and what I don't really like. And and we had so much fun in the rehearsals. And I think my young singers from the studio, they improved so good in these like 6 week production, not just in acting, also vocally. They felt so much more safe in what they are doing.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
important.
it was really, really fun. And I discovered actually that to be a director actually was my first love. And probably I will go back to the other side. I always said 2013, I changed from the artistic side to the management side. Sometimes I'm saying I moved to the dark side of the business. Okay, because it's something totally different to stay in the office answering your mails and not sitting on the rehearsal studio. And I think as a leader of Opera House Zurich, I always tried to stay in contact
With the
with
artists.
singers on the studio, and I visit. I'm still visiting the rehearsals and to see the progress, and to be very close to them and to the process and the problems on the process, that I can help. Even there are problems, I can help on a very early stadium. That's for me very important as a leader.
To recognize the issues. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
and there
In
is,
the beginning.
because after 20 years of assisting, you smell the problem.
Yes, I can
There is
imagine.
a problem. You see it's a combination not working. And I try to go to an early moment to them and try to relax the situation. But sometimes you can't say it's the matter of that and that and that. It's sometimes just this feeling that the atmosphere is a little bit tense or
Yes, you
some,
can sense it.
yes.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I was sitting in so many rehearsals with really bad atmosphere. You saw that the soprano is nearly crying, or the conductor will explode in the next seconds. And you get the good intention for that,
Yes.
for this situation. Yeah.
That's very important. This is actually what I wanted to ask you about your transition into arts management, and why did it happen, if I may ask?
Yeah, this was like sometimes, destiny. It's it's making weird things. I worked with Stefan Herheim as his personal assistant, and we had this very crazy year, 2013, with it was the Wagner and Verdi year. And first we did a Salome in Oslo that was in spring, and then for the Salzburg Festival we did Meistersinger of Nuremberg, a huge production. It was really the most challenging production in my life with Stefan. And directly after that, really, really challenging Meistersinger with a lot of work and really sleepless nights. Then we moved to the whole circus family of Stefan. I thought we were like circus family. Then we went to London for Le Vêpres Sicilienne, also a huge, big production. And Stefan said, okay, after this Le Vêpres Sicilienne, he wants to do a sabbatical. And Annette, you have to take care about yourself. See what you're doing. And I was so scared about this announcement. What should I do? What can I do? What do I want?
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, I really had nice experience working in Dresden, also for a production of Stefan. And then I spoke to the head of planning and artistic administration and said, Björn, do you need someone for prompter, stage manager, assistant, or anything? And then 1 week later, I got a call and said, Annette, we have a really, really weird situation in Dresden. The intendant, Mrs. Hessler, she died because she had a tumor. And it was really sad and really, really for the house, a shocking news. And then the Operndirektor, Eitan Pessen, he left also
Oh.
earlier because of some contract things. And it meant that at that moment, it was just the head of artistic planning was in charge of everything. And he said, Annette, I need help. Can you come and be my Referentin or
Yeah.
support me? I said, yeah, I have no clue, but I will come.
You will learning.
I
You will be
will,
learning by doing.
I will be as supportive as I can. And then was like Björn Peters and me and no intendant, no Operndirektor.
Wow.
And then we had the head of the financial department, Mr. Rote. He was the intendant for several time. And then it was like, okay, who is singing Traviata next year? And because I was traveling so much and worked so much in Europe, I knew a lot of singers, and I knew who is really good singer and who is a really good actor. And that's why I suggested a lot of singers to Björn. And then I learned how to talk to the agents and to negotiate the contracts. And then like a couple of months later, after I started working there, Ronny Adler became the artistic consultant of Dresden. And Ronny Adler was my Operndirektor in Berlin at the Staatsoper when I was director assistant. And I immediately had a good relationship again with Ronny Adler. And Ronny Adler was like, really, I learned everything by him. Because he told me, be aware of this agent,
Yeah.
don't, that's a trap, be careful with that. In the auditions, he said, okay, now listen to that. I asked for the aria again with some parts in piano. If he's cracking there, take the
Yes.
beside. And all these I learned from Ronnie Adler, and I really, really thankful that he gave all his experience to me. And then Björn, Mr. Adler, and we handled that for actually
You
nearly,
saved the opera house.
yeah, not safe, but it was a win-win situation. I think
Yeah.
I gave a lot of names to them and my ideas, and
In your network, of
I had
course.
the opportunity to learn the business, not really fully responsible because Mr. Adler and Björn were in charge. I was like in the second row, but I was allowed to give all my input, and it was a really, really, really great situation for me. And I think we handled it pretty successful these 4 years, 5 years. Till then, the new intendant, Mr. Tyler, was announced. And I think, okay, and then of course, a new intendant has new ideas
Of
of
course.
who is responsible for what. And I thought I don't want to be now one step lower of that.
Demoted, yes.
Yes. And then I just applied. Just a singer told me it would be so nice when you come to us to Hamburg. And I said, yeah, I know the intendant. I was assisting him like 15 years ago. I write him. And then 2 days later, he asked me, Annette, would you like to come?
Wow, this is amazing. That
Sometimes it's
only,
like really a matter of
yeah,
luck, destiny, and the right moment, the right male in the
the right
perfect
person,
timing.
the right opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I became the casting director in Hamburg.
Wow, that's
But
amazing.
yeah, I mean, sometimes I have to do this to believe that it went so well. And yeah, but it was also a lot of hard working,
Absolutely.
really, 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 really hard working,
Yeah.
and to be curious all the time. Who is, because actually my day starts with who is singing what where, watching the, now with Instagram it's so easier to see who is singing which role where. But in the former times it was with the magazines, with Opernwelt and Opernblatt. I was always informed who is doing what
Who's doing
where.
what? Yes.
And that's why, and I have a pretty good memory with names.
That's great. That's very helpful.
That is helpful, and I can even remember that I saw some singers 98 in Prague, and yeah, it's really crazy. And that this is my big basket of information I have. And yes, and to be curious about new roles, new houses, new repertoire, new names. It's like that's my essential tools in the business.
Are you traveling a lot?
Yes. Now, it's at the moment a little bit less, but I'm traveling a lot, or I traveled really, really a lot. And I am also very often part of the jury of in
Competitions,
competition.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and this is also for me very, very important because, of course, as Opernhaus Zurich, we can afford the stars. That's, yeah. Then it's
Yeah.
Lisette Oropesa, it's Benjamin Bernheim. That it's, I say, it's like going shopping with a golden Visa card.
Exactly.
And it like then the matter is to convince them for a project that you think, would you like to come for the project? That's the main task with these stars, to find the right project. But actually for me, it's much more challenging and more interesting to find the new stars, the
New,
newcomers,
yeah.
the new talents. And I think in a competition, is the frame of a competition is the best
The best
way.
environment, yeah, to find
Yes.
them. To
find
scout
them.
them.
But sometimes it's not the winner or it's not the finalist. That's why it's so important to be in the preliminary or in the semi-finals. Sometimes there are the candidates I'm more interested in. It's very funny.
That's very
And
funny, yeah.
of course, the finalists are good, and
Highlights, of course.
sometimes you see a potential and it's not reached the best level in the semi-final, but I keep them in mind and I try to follow the story of him or her, and I see how the career is developing, or I invite them to Zurich for a working session, or for our open studio if they are interested.
Yes.
2 years study in our opera studio.
Well, that's amazing. That's such a commitment as a mentor.
Yeah, but actually, the next generation is our future in our industry.
Yes.
I think in one time, Kaufmann and Netrebko, they can't sing anymore. We have to look for the new ones, and our art form is at the moment very fragile. We have to
Absolutely.
be very aware that we are not become to a museum or just
Absolute.
stars. We have to make it very attractive for the younger generation, and to find singers, young singers there close to the younger generation, that they say, okay, he's a cool guy, I'm interested in him. For example, Jakub Olinsky, with his breakdancing, he's so much closer to the generation, the younger generation, and probably brings some follower of his breakdance style into
Exactly.
the opera,
New
instead of
audiences.
someone who is just standing beside the piano. And yeah, I
Yes.
think we have to make this crossing the borders and invite different styles, different cultures to our culture, because otherwise it's hard to survive.
Yeah, this is actually a very difficult topic in opera industry, that opera is dying. You hear everything. Yeah, the new audiences are just not coming to the theaters, especially after the pandemic.
Yeah, but very interesting. It was in a conference on Opera Europe, and actually we have young audience. We have that, but what we are missing is the young families, the people from 35 till 55, because then private life is, then you have children,
Yeah.
you have to be successful in the job. I think we have to focus also more on these middle agers, not just on the young. We have pretty a lot of programs to bring children and youngsters into the opera, but we are losing them on the time when they are busy with the private life.
Yes.
We have to make a better gap. Of course, we have to gain, and with the education programs, the younger audience, but then to keep connection to them, that's so important.
Would you say that this is your mission in this industry?
Um, yes, my mission, I think, is to keep opera alive, to that we not just do it for the feuilleton and for. I think there is a little bit a competition between open directors and intendants, who has the best feuilleton critics and who has the best new idea of combination of piece and director. If you understand, or some movie director is doing whatever, Cenerentola, and it's not matching. Sometimes there is this competition, and I think sometimes we, the head of the houses, lose the connections to the audience. We need to stay more in contact and tell the audience that what we are doing is unique. An art
Yes.
form, when you can sit in the dark, in a dark auditorium, there is music, an orchestra of 80 persons playing, like on the stage, a chorus of 80 persons, dancers, extras, and they creating a situation for you because you paid a ticket. They create a situation for you that you got goosebumps live.
That's amazing.
Makes you cry.
Yes.
This is unique. That's not even cinema can do that because it happened 2 years ago. Something what happened now, getting this energy from 80 people singing with full body, full heart. That's the thing. That's our big value, and that's unique. And that's my mission to say, go to the opera and have this experience of goosebumps, tears.
I'm actually getting goosebumps right now, you're so passionate about it. And I've been
Because
a
I really
pianist for many
admire
years.
the opera. And when I see, like, sometimes I'm going to the big houses, there is a cast which is pretty expensive, standing on stage.
Yeah.
And the condition are not good because they had no rehearsal time. They are scared because a wall is moving and they are, oh, the wall is coming. Oh, they're standing in the dark because they had no possibility to be once on stage with the light. This scares me, and this gives me such a bad feeling watching the singers on stage if they can't do the best of the potential. And sometimes I'm very, very angry, even in big houses with a good cast, to see shows not really using the whole potential because out of situations with too little rehearsals. And or just the singers that just want to come with one day of rehearsals, and then they not know how to hug the partner, and then it looks awkward. And that's not the thing what I want. I want to be seduced by the emotions and the story they want to tell me, and not just nice costumes and a great voice. I really want to see some real emotions, be authentic. And that's what I was preaching to all the students I'm working in. It's the main goal is to tell the story in the most authentic way. And it's not a job coming 2 days, do some, just stand there, stand there, stand there, and then you get the big check. That's not actually the aim.
How it
That's
works.
not our art form. And I'm different from probably other casting directors, but for me, I see it in the result. And I go to other houses, I see a show, and I see there is something wrong. either they had too little time, or the conductor hates the tenor. I really see that because I saw so many things in my life. And even the audience, they not have this experience of, but it makes something like a little border of the flow of the emotions. If there's the full flow of the emotions, then people say, that was something unique, super special. And I really want to have this every evening.
Wow.
And this is really, really hard. It's really hard to create that.
And to achieve
because
that.
Yes, tenor has headache. It's like that. But to have these unique performances, this is for me the aim. And I have to say, I'm very blessed here in Zurich. We have really, really good conditions.
That's
I have
amazing.
an orchestra, which actually I love so much. They can play in the morning, like yesterday, they playing Parsifal Prelude and Elgar's Enigma variation. And in the evening, they play Donizetti, Don Pasquale in style, really bel canto style. And in the morning, they had Wagner and Elgar. It was like, and the same guys were sitting there. And this is unique.
Impressive.
And they can play Wagner, they can play Monteverdi. And this is really, I'm very blessed here with this orchestra and also with chorus. And I think it's like to 99% when I see a show, and I see nearly every evening a show, I'm convinced that this is right. how we do it here. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Opera House Zurich.
No, that's actually amazing. And really, you're so passionate about what you're doing, and you can feel it even, through the screen.
Yeah, because I think we on stage and backstage, we have to be passionate.
Yes.
If we are not doing it, then we can't give it to the audience.
We cannot give it. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
If we don't have it, we cannot give it.
Yeah, and I have to say, yesterday evening, I was standing in the wings in the end of the Pasquale, and with the head of the technical team on this evening, and I felt his passion. I felt his passion about it, because there was a tiny bit running wrong, and he was like, "Oh no, we could be better. We could be better." And I said, "Oh, come on, it was just a tiny bit." But he was so passionate about it, and I said, "Yes, that's the right spirit. I'm aim for it. Everybody, the dresser, the prop, the chorus, the extra, have the aim to have the perfect show in the evening."
Yes.
Even we had like a big concert in the morning, and we are after a long week of rehearsals of Elia with the chorus on the studio. They are fully passionate on a Sunday evening. And I had so much fun, because I think that's the right team spirit. And that is what I really, really want to keep, or to bring to another house. If I go on to another house, I really, really want to keep and bring this spirit.
The spirit. But as a leader, how do you balance passion with perfectionism?
Of course, I love to have everything perfect, but also a big thing of a leader is to be a little bit chilled if something is not perfect. But if the passion is right, it's fine. I always say, when a singer cracked, having of course I'm suffering, and they are suffering, and said, but actually the performance was great. You gave your best, and of course you're not a robot. You are a human person.
Human beings, yeah.
Human being. And of course something can happen. And if you have trouble with your husband, or you had a bad night because your baby cried, then I totally understand that there is probably one note not perfect, but you were passionate and you run for it, and I saw the energy, and I saw the will to do it best. And then I can live with a moment of imperfection, when the passion and the will is there. If there's imperfection and losing the passion and losing the will to be good, then we have a problem. Then I have to say, we need to talk about it. Then I'd be very clear, because then we have a problem. And this is like a spiral going down, and can pull a quality down. Then it's like a virus, probably. Then the partner is saying, "Oh, she's not perfect. I don't have to be perfect."
Yes, exactly.
Because, they are not really ambitious. They are not motivated. I don't have to be motivated. But if everybody's there, then imperfection is once or twice. I really say we are allowed to be imperfect on some days.
Well, that's relieving, because art sector is highly competitive. And, everyone has the pressure to be just perfect. We have to sound like recordings.
Yeah. Now, of course, to compare what happened on stage with a recording, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because in a recording, they had several takes.
Yes.
And they choose the best one. But that's also the thing. On stage, we are live, and we can be imperfect. And sometimes that's the special moment, especially when we do an announcement because a singer is not feeling well. But then you feel the support of the audience.
Yes.
They say, yes. And even he cracks, they say, "Thank you, but you appeared, and we had an opera night, and we enjoyed it." And yeah,
Yeah.
it's also a challenge to say we're humans. We can fail. And yes, it's this in our
Balance.
business that the balance, and that we don't lose the humanity in our
Exactly.
business, because it's all about emotions and humans on stage, human stories on stage. And of course, humans are not perfect. We are not machines. Thank God, we are not AI yet.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God. And yeah, and to say probably the soprano cracked, probably the bass failed, but probably that's also a moment of I appeared on a show that the tenor wasn't good, but actually he made me so much goosebumps. Then it's remarkable.
You described your personality as being empathetic. Is
Yes.
it something, in your opinion, that it's more common in women leaders?
Yes, I
Yes.
have to say yes. Really have to say yes. And it's like always with my female colleagues, it's like we are missing that so often in our male colleagues. And of course, it's like to be empathic, then you take the problems with you at
Yes.
home, and this is really hard for me to separate that. Um, yeah, but I think it's like I don't want to miss it. I'm really happy that I'm empathic, and I can think how my other side feels. And but of course there are also empathic men, and I think it's like also I really hope that it will change in the next years, that the old white man will. But actually I see also a generation of younger men behaving like old white men. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just can talk from my perspective. I try to be as I am in my empathic way, and that people see that leadership is also in this way possible, and that they will deny to say we don't want to have a leader like that, like this old white man, or these. Well, I have to say I am the boss.
Yes.
And I think it's also for me a perspective. What is power? Because then, oh, you are so powerful, you can decide. Actually, I'm not seeing the power. Actually, I see the responsibility I have. This is for me as a leader, that I am responsible for so many people, for so many careers, for so many lives, and also for families. I choose a singer. Would you like to come for an ensemble? And he's moving to Switzerland with 2 children. And then if I say after 2 years, no, please, you're fired. I'm responsible for so many people. And of course, I have power. But what is power? For power is for me really responsibility. And I hope that there is a change in the mind of leaders, that it's not like behave like Louis XIV. That okay, l'état c'est moi. I can handle people like, yes, like I want him. For me, it's like always think about the stories behind of your decision. And I hope that there will be an awareness about that in the next years. And we have these culture change now since 4 years in Opera House Zurich. And we have a lot of coachings. And I tell you, it's not easy for everybody to adjust leadership in this new way. And even I learn a lot. Of course, there are situations probably I react in a way I say, oh, why I'm reacting now this? But then it's like all these pain, or these moments I had in my past, and say, okay, I could do it under these conditions. Now you have to do it as well. And think, no, Annette, you told yourself You don't want to have this for the next generation. It's
Right.
what I promised myself. I want to be different, not like that what I saw and felt in the years before. I want to make it better. But leadership is a very, very challenging side. And as a director's assistant, I was very often saying, the Operndirektor, why are they doing that? They could do it better. Then I changed the side. And then I
Yeah.
saw it's not easy. I complained a lot, and now I see the difficulties you have to handle, because probably you try to make it right, but then you have an agent who fools you. Is just coming later without no reason really. And then it's like, yeah, actually now we are in the situation that the director's assistant can complain about my work, but actually
Yes.
it's not my fault. It's like all these little tools or
Yeah.
not working. And like it's so complex, the work of a leader.
How do you strike the balance between being empathetic and having to make sometimes difficult and unpopular decisions?
Yeah, of course you have to make decisions. And I think for people, for employees, it's the worst thing not to know what's going on. And of course I have to make decision to keep a quality. I have to say your work or your wasn't as good as expected, and I saw it now 2 years, and I'm really sorry. We had several meetings about the quality or your attitude to the profession. I think we have to say that our time ends, and it's really unpleasant. Also, when I see in rehearsals that the singer is not prepared, I have to call them in my office and say, 2 days, otherwise we have to say bye-bye. It's hard, but actually my aim is to keep this level and this quality. And what I learned is to talk to the persons early enough. When I see something coming up, I try to talk to the people. If there is one day to the premiere and I'm saying, what are you doing? I can't go out. And they say, hey, nobody told me that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not the right way. It's like to follow the people on the way they go through a process in 6 weeks, to see, okay, now is the time. I don't make a big bomb. I I talk to them early enough to improve or adjust or something. That's for me better, to instead of having the big bomb in the
Exactly.
latest moment. Then it's really unpleasant for both sides. But it you have to be curious to say people that they're not good or they're not as good as expected. That's not really my favorite part of the job. My a good friend who was intendant for a long time, he said, Annette, you have to be aware. If you decide for someone, you decide against a lot. You think you do a good decision, but there are 20 or 100 or 1,000 singers. They not agree with your decision, and probably you have enemies.
Yeah.
And this is also very important, that you can't do it right for everybody. I have to say, okay, I agree to, I'm totally behind my decision, but I'm aware that there are a lot of people do not like my decision. And to be aware of that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot.
What would be your advice to aspiring arts managers who just begin their journey?
Yes, as I said, to work as director's assistant is a big help, to see how complex it is. To just culture studies, you don't get the sense of it. Try to make an internship, and I think very smart of the former financial director. He came from the financial, but then his the head who hired him, he said, okay, before you get the job as chief of financial department, you have to do an internship as a Regie Hospitant, that you really understand what's going on here. And he said, Annette, it was the best thing he told me, because then I understood what's going on in a theater. And you can learn that in a master degree, master study for culture, how complex it is. It's so many things. Even after 30 years, I think, okay, yes, to talk to the health and safety manager would be important in that moment. It's always you have the aha moments, but if it's just aha moments in your work, that it's really, really dangerous. Try to get into a company, house, and probably in a smaller house, because you see how complex small houses work. Staatstheater Karlsruhe was actually a pretty big house with ballet, drama, and opera. But when you go to a house like Koblenz, Pforzheim, or something, you see how this microsystem is working and what depends on what. That's so important, that you really understand how an opera house works and has to run.
So practice is first. Absolutely.
Absolutely. From my perspective, yes. And not just a festival or something glamorous, like really go to the basics, really, really go to the basics. Learn everything. Learn how important it is that a prop person is important, or the dresser, even the cleaning ladies. How often I had the situations in Karlsruhe that the director or the singer said, "Oh, it's so dusty here," and who came with the sponge and cleaned it?
Yeah, really?
Yes, of course, because there was no cleaning lady at 6 o'clock in the evening. Then I cleaned the floor because everybody was complaining. Oh, it's so dirty. Then of course I cleaned it. And then you highly appreciate that there is a really good cleaning lady in the theater who's doing the rehearsal studio is tidy and clean. It's like really out of that you see the value of everybody. And now when I walk through Open House Zurich, I say hello to every cleaning lady, because I know how important they are, because I cleaned the floor in Karlsruhe. We understand.
That's crazy.
It has so much on your perspective working in a team. And of course, I'm a leader, but I am a part of a team. And of course, I have to make decisions, but I'm a part of the team, and I can't do my job good if not everybody is
doing their job.
And a good job, because otherwise I have to excuse myself for, I'm sorry that the rehearsal studio was so dirty. I have to talk to the cleaning lady. When I say every day, hello, thank you, Biba, to the cleaning lady, you do a fantastic job. I'm so happy that you're here. Then she's motivated. And then, of course, I know that she's going to do her job in a good way. And this is so complex. You don't learn that if you not clean the floor by yourself. You understand?
Yeah, that's a very good example. Yes, absolutely.
I'm not sitting like the queen in the casting office and decide, oh, who would like I pick now? No. It's so many little seconds on the corridor. These little seconds that I have an open ear for the dresser. This little second that I have the chat with the technical guy yesterday evening. This makes my job. I have the feeling that's nowadays leadership, to see people and to appreciate the work of them.
Well, that was such a powerful statement. And I feel like we can just talk the whole day, but I realize how busy you are. So my last question would be, is there anything else you would like to explore in this industry?
If I would be 30 years younger, I really would like to become a conductor. Actually, I'm so jealous that I am not standing in front of the orchestra. I love that, how they can give it to the orchestra and be the connection between the singer and the musicians. That actually, but this is just a dream. But what I really would like to explore more is, or is now more the work with the young singers. This is really, that's why I also now created this whole web page to work with the young singers, that that I have a tool to keep our art form alive. That's for me important, to give all this passion what I have, and I think you felt it, that I give it to the next generation. That's for me actually the most important thing.
Annette, thank you so much for your time, for your generosity in this conversation, for your openness. And it was truly an honor to have you here with me today.
Alma, it was a really big pleasure working or talking to you, and I give you my idea of my job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have listened to The Art She Manages. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the show and leave a positive review on whichever platform you're listening. It really helps more people discover these stories. Feel free to share the episode with someone you think would be inspired by it. Until next time!